Yo, so before we get into this video, I want to give you guys some caveats because um, past Keith's made some mistakes. So I'm gonna put how the real list is supposed to go. So it's supposed to go Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, and C.J. Stroud. So accidentally made a video completely like missed out on Baker Mayfield, who's supposed to be number 8. So I'm just gonna give you guys all three in the same video. So we're going to start with Baker Mayfield and work our way up now. So and in the Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud portions of this video, I'm going to put the number of who they should be at the top on the side because in my breakdown of those, I accidentally said the wrong number, and so as editing this video, I discovered that I did that. So let's talk about Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield, and he is coming in at number 8. So Baker Mayfield, passed for over 4,000 yards, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 61.6 completion percentage, 16th in the NFL, third best offensive line as brought to you by Pro Football Focus. Back to back great seasons. The Browns royally screwed up letting Baker Mayfield go. Now, at the time, we didn't think Baker Mayfield was going to be this good. He had went to Carolina, who was a dumpster fire, so we should have known that it wasn't his fault that he was so bad in Carolina. And then he went to the Rams and had that special into the season and was able to scare some teams as they ultimately got defeated right in the playoffs. But so he was able to revitalize his career, go to Tampa, and actually have a really good season in Tampa. I don't cover the Bucks, but I remember when he got there, he was a throwaway. People didn't think he was going to do much in Tampa, but then he got himself together. He matured, and he was able to become a better quarterback. When I wanted to do this list a year ago, Baker Mayfield was probably going to be in this same range, if not a little higher. So Baker Mayfield has just been a special talent these last few years. I mean, he got through for over 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. Now, you can say he has the third runs offensive line, so he has the time, and he has Mike Evans, and he also has Godwin. So he's had talent around him, but it doesn't go unless you have the quarterback to actually go and do this. So Baker Mayfield is number 8. People might think that's a little high for Baker Mayfield, but just go look at what Baker Mayfield is doing. They have remnants of that championship team from when Brady was there, but it ain't like they have like some like super well off team that Baker Mayfield uh is like just inept there. Like look at Baker Mayfield in Carolina and then look at Baker Mayfield in now. And even early in Cleveland. The signs were there. He just got hurt in Cleveland, and Cleveland is one of the worst run organizations in sports. So they did what Cleveland do is royally screw it up. So we have Baker Mayfield coming in at number 8. I have Jaden Daniels. So Jaden Daniels was 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 69% completion percentage, QBR 70.6, and he had the fourth. No, I'm sorry. 69 completion percentage. That was fourth in the NFL. I do not. Oh, okay, they did. I do have it. So his O line was 10th in the league as far as passing. As far as overall offensive line, his completion percentage was 69%. That was fourth in the NFL. QBR 70.6, and his offensive line was ranked 10th in the NFL. All these rankings are going to be courtesy of Pro Football Focus. I'm not the biggest fan of Pro Football Focus, but they were the most reliable source that I had to rank all these offensive lines, right? So he led his team to the NFC Championship game, and they were 48 minutes away from the Super Bowl as a rookie. So as a rookie, what at that point, what do you say? What can he do better besides win the Super Bowl? And am I going to put unrealistic expectations on this guy? And am I going to expect him to win the Super Bowl? No, I'm not. It was a magical run. They got some breaks there in the season, and they essentially did what the Vikings were supposed to do. Um, they essentially did what the Vikings were supposed to do most of the season, right? But the Vikings were upset and blah, blah, blah. I expect Jaden Daniels to have a sophomore slump, because anything other than the NFC Championship game and like MVP contention would be a sophomore slump. Kind of like we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's going to be hard to rank Jaden after this because he's so high up on this list. And honestly, you could argue he should be higher for as good of a season, for as good a second half of the season that he had. But as a rookie, I just can't put him no higher. The reason that he's higher than the other two guys, Jared Goff and Justin Herbert, is because he did a lot more winning, and that team was nothing last year. There's a reason they had a chance to draft Jaden, and for the most part, they made a couple changes. Austin Eckler, like I said, they improved the offensive line. They was ranked 10th, and it's nothing moves without the right quarterback. I don't care how good the offensive line is, how good this is, how good this is. If it's not for the offensive line, your team is not going to do much of anything. And people can act like that's not a big thing, but it definitely is. Shout out to the offensive line. That's why I'm highlighting them in this series. So, Keith, what do you think of the Debo pickup? I do think the Debo pickup is great if he's healthy. It's kind of like the Anthony Davis thing. Anthony Davis looked great, but then he got hurt. And now the trade looks weird because Luka Doncic is playing and Anthony Davis is not. Shout out to them for I like Anthony Davis, but Luka is magic. So if you guys don't know, I'm a huge LeBron fan. So yeah. So Debo will improve this offense if he's healthy. It opens up so much variety for this offense, more variety than they already had. You can run Debo in the backfield, you can run Debo in the slot, you can put Debo on the edge. He can get outside the numbers. You can run Debo with anything, but it all comes down to: are you going to get your money's worth? Is Debo going to be healthy? And that's going to be the major thing with this trade and this signing. Is Debo Samuel going to be healthy enough for a 2021 game run? Because Austin Eckler showed that he broke down this year. So is this team going to be healthy enough to get through it? Because if you rely on Debo, he's not a number one. He's not a number one, but you don't need a number one with Terry already there. So you don't need number one. But if he can be your gadget guy like he was for the 49ers, but you don't have Shanahan coming with him. So is he a product of the Shanahan offense, or is he really this good? It remains to be seen. I have Jaden Daniels at number 8 on my list. And I expect him to have a slight slump, but I don't think it will be as big of a slump as we think he will. So, speaking of guys having sophomore slumps, at number 7, I have C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, 3,727 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 49.8 QBR, 24th in the league. Lost in the divisional round, sophomore slump, injuries, terrible offensive line. I'm just going to run off everything I wrote. I didn't write their offensive line rank because I watched them all year, so I know how bad the offensive line was. CJ played well this year, but his numbers will not show you how well he played this year. They might be looking at the number 1 pick if it wasn't for CJ pulling these guys out of just absolute BS. Like, defense was great all year. I'm not going to sit here and act like the defense wasn't great. That corner that they have there, his name is escaping me. Great corner. But mixed in with CJ not living up to expectations, the injuries, his 2-3 top receivers all were hurt. So you're working with 3rd, 4th options on a great team to be your number 1, number 2 receivers. And CJ was running for his life, which is why he had 12 interceptions. So I'm not going to put this season on CJ, but I have to call it like it is. If Jaden wasn't a rookie, he would have been higher than CJ. But I got to give CJ the nod just based off he actually played this year. He wasn't as good as he was his rookie season. He was still good this year. So I had to give him the nod because of the consistency. But I don't think I really have to explain too much why he's number 7 on the list. He dealt with a lot of badness. I don't think DeMeco Ryans is a bad coach by any stretch of their imagination. I just think that they have to figure that offensive line. They have to figure that offensive line thing out. Like, I'm sure I tell the story all the time. Obviously, I'm from St. Louis, born and bred in St. Louis. I live in St. Louis. I was a little younger with the Mark Bolger days, but I remember the Mark Bolger days when the Rams were here, and they couldn't stop nobody from getting to Mark Bolger. I'm talking about to the point where Mark Bolger would just fall down if he got hurt. Sam Darnold, they couldn't protect Sam Darnold. He always not Sam Darnold, Sam Bradford. He got hurt all the time, and you don't want that to your franchise quarterback to where he getting gunshot. And I saw some of that this year where CJ was gunshot. So CJ would be probably a top 6, 7, or top 4 or 5 quarterback if it wasn't for all the injuries and the offensive line terribleness and everything. So, like I said earlier this season, and it happened, that offensive line is going to cost them a chance to go far, and ultimately it did against Kansas City. So that's really all I got for you guys. CJ, number 7, Jaden, number 8. Stay tuned for next week where we really get into some top guys, and I have some really strong opinions on 6 and 5. That's going to be a really really good video. That's going to be probably the best video of this series because I think you guys already can put together. Where you kind of, I think y'all kind of know where I'm going with 6 and 5. So let me know. Try to guess the list in the comment section. I'm having a good time with this. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.